that will help you with the home search process. So 92% of buyers use the internet in their home search process. And what you want to do with that is you want to make sure you're keeping their focus on the best homes. So 50% of the buyers will use a mobile website or application in their home search. 98% of the buyers who used an agent viewed real estate agents as a useful information source. 98%, that's pretty good. More than 50% of the buyers reportedly finding the right home was the most difficult step in the home buying process. 24% of the recent home buyers reported the primary reason for the recent home purchase was a desire to own a home. 9% purchased a new home due to a job-related relocation or move, and 8% bought for the desire to be in a better area or a change in a family situation. So, your biggest thing is, in order to find a home successfully for your buyer, is to find the right home. So you're going to get quality properties. You want to qualify them and get the quality properties that you're looking for. So you want to help them identify which homes are actually worth the time seeing, because buyers can be all over the place, as you very well know. So they'll say they want one thing, and then they'll send you something that has like master on the main. They'll say I want a master on the main, and they'll send you a couple of houses that they want to see, and 2 of them don't have a master on the main. So you're saying, okay, again, I thought you said that you wanted the master on the main, right? And just is this now not an option? Like you're okay with giving a little bit on that and not having a master on the main? Just kind of remind them, because they'll give you the top 5 of their give you a top 5 of what their must-haves are at the house. Big yard, fenced yard, master on the main. Just get out of them what their top 5 things are, and that's how you're going to help them narrow their search down. Because if not, you're going to be all over the board. And area specifics too. That's really important. A lot of people will say a certain school district, or and again, that's not our job to do. Find out about the schools. I really recommend that you tell your people, because I have a lot of people that say about the good schools, and you tell them to go visit the school. Physically go to the school, talk to the people in there if they're in their office. If not, go to the county, whatever county it's in, Guilford, Davidson, whatever, and go to there and talk to them about numbers or whatever, because it's not our job to know about the schools. To know where they're at and plug them in and see where they're districted at, yes. But to know specifics on their scores and everything else, that's not our job. They need to figure that out, because redistricting around here goes all the time. So, and you hate to tell them, oh yeah, you're going to be right here, and this is this school, and then the next school year it's a totally different thing redistricted. So that's something you don't want liability with. So I really recommend that. So 92% of the buyers use the internet in their home search process, which no surprise. Help them identify which homes are actually worth the time to see. So what do you guys use as far as helping your buyers find a house? What are you guys sending them?
Mobile app.
Mobile app. Listing book. Okay, good. Because the last group I had here didn't have a listing book. Everybody's familiar with listing book. Good. I have one more sheet for you guys too. When you get in contact with somebody, when somebody's calling about a house, or you're just getting to know somebody for a client, this is something I use. It's a client contact information sheet. And it's got on there just everything that you're going to need to ask. So when they're calling you and asking you about a house, and do they need to sell a house? If so, is it listed? Is it listed with somebody already? Who's it with? Have they spoken to a lender? That's huge. Because you don't want to be walking people around and driving them everywhere and they're not qualified. Or they're looking at a $150,000 house and they're qualified at $110,000. So that's huge. Get that, rope them in on that, because you're going to waste a lot of time. So this is just something I use, and then there's a lead information checklist on the back. How you got them, came through call, email, text, listening book campaigns, whatever, how you got them, just so you can kind of keep track of your stuff. But I'm going to give you a copy so you all can make a copy for yourselves, for your records. I use it every time I get on the phone with someone that's new. It's really helpful because you're going through the checklist of asking the questions, and then you have it. It's a good way to keep all their information.
Now, if you have this sheet, how do you keep records of everybody that you talk to? Do you put them in it, or?
Yes, you put your contact. That's definitely how you put it in there for your campaigns.
Let me ask you a question, and I should know this answer, but I don't. Okay, if you send someone to be qualified,
Yes.
and they come back and say, here's a letter, you can get such and such, but then when the loan starts going through, they have to do more, don't they? The lender?
The lender, yes, because that's they're going to be pre-qualified, right? Pre-qualified and pre-approved. It's two different things. So make sure you know that. Approved is what you want. So you know a definite amount. So they're pre-qualified, so they're saying, based on that information that the buyer gave me, because they're going off of whatever they're telling them, they haven't really did the digging yet. So once they do the digging, that's when they can see what the approval process is. And I like to kind of step back on that too, because people have a license in mortgaging. I don't do that. I just tell them, look, I give them a handful of people I work with. I have like 5 or 6 lenders I work with, and I'm not partial to anyone. I just whatever area they're in or whatever's more convenient, I'll just throw them names to there and say, just tell them I sent you, and people I know that will call and talk to, and sit down with them.
Because once they're pre-qualified, they may not be approved.
Well, they're going off of this is what my lenders tell me, that they're going off of the information based on what the buyer is giving them. So once they really get into it and start digging, oh, you didn't tell me you had this. Oh, yeah, so they can only go, yes. So things can change. So I just say, do you have a pre-approval letter? You should get pre-approved first so that we're not wasting our time and we're not going around looking at things that you're not approved for, because you want to make sure, and they want to make sure when they're approved for something, say you're looking at their max, like $250,000. I'm approved for $250,000. That's great. Do you want to go on vacation? Do you want to have a car? Do you have a car payment? You just kind of want to you just want to give them that kind of insight too. Because you say, $250, if you want to stay there, that's fine, but just make sure, too, you're not just going to be a house poor. I tell a lot of first-time home buyers that. You don't want to be a house poor. Because you want to help them. You don't want to make it seem like, you're just out to make a sale. You want to, I do. I'm a mom, so I'm kind of worried about people getting into situations they can't do. So I had that happen last year, but they didn't listen to me. So anybody didn't sign it? Everybody sign it? Tiffany, did you sign it?
Yes.
You did? Okay, we're good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make up a person. Keep the focus on the best homes, okay? So Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, that's what we'll call them. When we do find the right home, we'll need to act quickly, and I know you are going to have a feeling of, well, there is something better out there. But I have to tell you, the best homes sell right away because they are the best homes. Yes, if you're walking into a place and you're seeing, I can tell right away this is going to go fast, especially if it's priced right and it's been redone and everything's like Pottery Barn chic, everything looks great. I'm like, this is going to go quick. So if you really like this, then we need to know, act quick. Always tell them that because, it's true. All right, so they're going to start sending you stuff, and you're going to say, well, hold on, and they're going to say, I found this is it, I know this is it, this is the house. You're going to say, well, hold on, let's see if it's available. Check your MLS. Make sure it's available, not in due diligence, not pending. So make sure you're not wasting your time going up there. If it is in due diligence, sometimes they'll let you do still show for backup offers. But a lot of the times I'm finding they're not. So, and compare the features of the home with your buyer's wish list, the 5 must-haves. So get their 5 must-haves down, rein them in with their 5 must-haves, You told me that the master and the main was one of your 5 must-haves. 2 of the homes you sent me don't have that. Is this something you're willing to give up? So kind of remind them. Large fenced yard. Oh, this one's not a fenced yard. Are you willing to put that money into it, to put the fence in? You know, just kind of rope them in because they're going to run you all over the place. Let's see right here. Okay. So you're putting their criteria in. Price range, let's say 200 to 250. Neighborhood, High Point. I'm from there, so I'm going to say that. Number of bedrooms, 3 to 4, 2.5 bath. Determine the 5 must-haves. Get their little must-haves down. Based on the number of homes, so just make something up with their 5 must-haves. Based on the number of homes that result from the search, refine your criteria until you have 15 or fewer properties to review. Okay? Using just 15, further refine them with your buyer until you have 5 to 7 homes left. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to give you a minute. Yeah, I would
I'm
too.
all about land and yard.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way that is very important.
Yep. So you're going to see how you're going to reduce the list of matching properties down to 15 and then to 5. See how we can do that. Once you get your list, tell them you have 5 homes. Say, I think I found 5 homes. I'm going to send them to you. I would send them to them just so they can preview them like you have online. Let them look at it. Let them see yes, no, or if it's worth their time. Just say, at this point, we need to start narrowing it down. So take them to see those 5. Say they say, yeah, all 5 of those look good. Let's go see them. So set the tour date with your buyer and specific times and all that, and try with the listing to try to give a 24-hour notice if you can. I space mine out about 30 minutes apart. That's what I do, about 30. Well, I'll do about 30-minute window on a showing and then schedule the next one. I kind of overlap them because you never stay in the same one.
Yeah.
So just FYI on that.
If you find that your buyer finds a home and they're going to spend more time in it, is there a way of texting? I guess you could just text the agent.
It depends on how far you're going over because if it's like a spaced out, like the one day I was over in Thomasville and we were kind of spaced out, but and we took a little bit more time in the one, but the other one was empty. So, and we were still in that time frame. I think I booked it for an hour. I usually do a half an hour, but I did an hour because it was so spread out. So I just took an hour for each one. That's another thing. Look at your distances to see how far your properties are apart. And just base it on that. If they're close and it's in the same neighborhood, I would stick within the 30-minute range of each showing. And you could even overlap it a little bit with your next showing, just because if you get through this one in 15, 20 minutes and they're ready for the next one, you want to be able to boom, boom, boom. So I just kind of do that. And then if it's far out, I try to do each one like at least an hour long. Say you're going to the first one at 10, and you make it from 10 to 11. Make the next one from 10:30 to 11:30, so that if you get to the next one early, it's okay that they knew you were coming. You know, I kind of do it that way. And if it's, well, go ahead.
I have a question. If one of the properties you scheduled a showing for goes under contract, tell me if the showing time will cancel the appointment, or do we have to go in and do it?
No, they won't cancel it. You're going to go, you'll still go do the appointment, but I mean, that's why before you go see it, you really should check on
I
it
had
to make sure.
and we couldn't see the property. I mean, it was under contract.
Yeah. Did it cancel it on you? Or how did they
It canceled on me.
Oh, yeah.
And
So what would have been that? Probably the seller.
The
The seller or somebody probably did.
Yeah.
They probably just said no more showing.
It just canceled it out. I didn't see it. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
That wasn't
Oh,
very
you
smart.
didn't get to see it?
That wasn't very smart of the
No.
realtor.
Yeah.
That was really stupid.
Well, she should have, or she should have called you and said, they just went under contract, they just signed, and we're.
It
so-
could have, but like you said, it could have been the homeowner.
Oh, yeah, the homeowner
We're
sometimes.
under
will do-
contract and I don't want anybody else.
Yeah.
in my house.
Yeah, that's totally it.
But
Yeah.
as a realtor, you would,
As a realtor, it was inadvertently done.
Yeah,
The realtor would
sellers do a
necessarily
lot of
know.
things. Yeah, and if they have that showing time number, they'll call and they'll tell them.
Yeah.
Believe me, I know
Yeah.
it's happened. So anyway, okay, so place the MLS sheets in order with the tour of the properties and include the home tour checklist. Do you guys have a home tour checklist? Trying to see. It's page 18 in mine. The home tour checklist.
Oh.
Ring the doorbell.
No, it looks like this.
Over here, okay.
Let me see if it's on here. I don't see it on here. No, I don't see it on here. Do you guys see this? Do you have this page? Yeah, right there. Is it 18? Okay. So you have your home tour checklist. Make a copy of the 5 must-have sheet that was filled out during the buyer consultation and include it with the MLS and home tour checklist, and you will give it to your buyers. So it says one of the most important parts of preparing your buyers is to evaluate the homes is to help them understand the things they should look past. So if their dislikes are things like the yard size or the structure of the home, things that cannot be easily changed, ask them if that is a deal breaker. When it comes to things like wall color, we were just talking about this, wall color, lack of landscaping, discuss easy low-cost solutions and help them to see past these issues. Have your buyers use the home tour checklist to guide them as to what to look at in the home and to make comments. You should have them do that. Like I give them a sheet. I have a client sheet from the MLS for my client, and then of course I print one off for me. And then we'll go through and I'll hand them their folder as soon as I meet with them and say, these are the properties we're going to see today. And I'll have the residential property disclosure, everything, anything that was on there affiliated with that property stapled to that clientele sheet. And then I put them in order, and then I tell them you can make notes on this. This is yours to have. I have a folder. I give them Keller Williams folder with their stuff in it. That's the first meeting. And then I give it to them so that they can keep track. It's just something for them to have.
But you don't give them you just give them the MLS sheet to make notes on, but you don't give them an additional sheet to look at all these specific things
No.
or rate
No.
it or anything.
No, I tell them just to make notes. I said, it really does help if you make notes, because if you see so many in a day, you get confused. You're like, wait, which one had that? Which one had it? Yeah. So just make your notes on them, and that's how we can come down to like process of elimination, is to see what's going to work, what's not going to work. So, okay. And they say always to ring the bell, the doorbell, when you're going to show a house, just to make sure if it's occupied. If it's vacant, don't worry about it. But if it's occupied, I do ring the doorbell, because I will tell you, this is a story I have. I think it was in Lexington. I was showing houses to this young couple, and we pull up, and there's this German Shepherd. There's a police car in the driveway, and there's this German Shepherd outside in the back, and it's really barking. And it was on this like kind of like one of those lines. It just moved all around. Like, it could move a lot. It had a lot of space, and it was really barking like crazy. And it was really, yeah. So I was like, ooh. So I thought, well, that was odd. Why would they leave that out here? Like, why wouldn't they put him away? So we go up to the door. I ring the doorbell. Nobody answers. So we go in. We're walking all through the house, talking about the house. They're saying what they like, what they don't like. And we're going all through. We go upstairs because it's a split level. But it's right here, and then there's the basement. And it's right here. We're on the main floor, and then we're going up the stairs here. We go up the stairs, and the husband looks at me and goes, there's somebody in here. And I went, what? And he goes, there's somebody in here. I hear a voice in here. I'm like, and it's in one of the bedrooms. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, come on. Because I didn't even want to open the door at that point.
Yeah.
So I said, and I'm like, gosh, how rude. You're sitting. So he was on his phone inside the bedroom, master bedroom, talking on the phone. So we go to get out of that house. We walk down the stairs, and we're like, I guess we'll leave. So we go to leave, and he comes out in his boxer shorts, and he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't get time to get out. I'm not feeling good or something. And I said, well, you know, you can decline the showing. Can always do that. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't get time to get out. And so it was a cop. It was a cop. So yeah, came out in his boxers, and there's all of us standing there. I'm like,
so awkward.
this is weird.
Police dog.
Yeah, it was just all weird. My hands were sweating. I could not wait to get out of there. I'm like, this is just weird. I've never had anything like that, but that was my weird experience right there. Just everybody has it. There you go. So, okay, so let's see here. So have your buyers give descriptive names to help them visualize the homes. So the Great View House, the I don't know how to say the sunroom house, or whatever stuck out to them, and just kind of give them a name to that house so they can kind of bring it back to mind. And let's see here. So it says, let your buyers come to their own conclusions. Instead, ask questions. You want to get inside their head to determine if this home is really a match for what they want. Try asking, what would you change about this house? This can give you the knowledge to get them the proper home. It gets them where they're thinking. You can kind of get on their level. Help buyers identify their perfect home by pointing out the benefits, not the features that align with the needs, wants, and values you have already identified for them. Features are attached to the property. Benefits are attached to the buyer. So, for example, if the home has new windows, point out that benefit, not just the fact that they are new. The new windows mean you'll have lower utility bills.
Oh, I'm going to give you a little tidbit. There is a subdivision in Summerfield, Hinson Farms, and because of the level of windows they have to put in, they're very, very expensive. It's a type of window.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the builders are not putting screens. So, just FYI, if you ever have anybody in there, the screens aren't there, you need to put the screens in the deal.
Oh.
Just let you know.
Interesting. Okay, I thought all windows came with screens.
No, because
A lot of
they require.
I don't know what my windows say.
I take my screens out.
Yeah,
I don't like screens.
well, the pollen and stuff.
Yeah.
My family can't do it, so I.
But there was a
use
big ordeal between some people. So,
yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
just.
That too.
Well, I keep them on the upstairs for safety, but downstairs I don't like them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the level of windows they have to have in that subdivision, whatever the material is, it's very expensive. So.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, another thing I do with buyers too is I go through and I say, let's look at the big ticket items that they've redone here. So the roof, 2014, 15. You're going, okay, that's pretty new. Your heating and your air was done in 2010, 12. So like those are pretty things that pretty much that they're not going to have to go in and replace right away. Okay, so a kind of.
The recommendation.
I think it's 20 years. I think it's 20. Yeah. Max is 20. I have a listing right now that there is 20. It's 20 years old. We did a roofing allowance kind of thing, and we got it to deal. But
I mean, do you have it inspected or?
well, they did. I mean, they had it inspected. They had no problems with it, but we knew it was of age. It was 20 years old. So, and it looked. The pictures looked like my pictures when they came out. She was like, "Can't you do something with that?" I'm like, "No, I can't." Like she wanted me to go in and kind of, I don't know. I'm like, "No, it is what it is. Like it's 20. I can't go make it look nice. Like I don't know what she wanted me to do with it." But I'm like, "No, I can't."
I saw on the internet the other day you can hire somebody to do a pressure wash.
Yes.
on the roof.
Yes, but it has to be in good shape
Don't
to do
pressure
that.
wash. I've learned not to do that. I'm actually going to do it because there's mold,
Yes.
and you want to get that mold off.
Right,
It'll
algae,
destroy-
that algae
Yeah,
on there.
it'll destroy your wood underneath.
Yes.
But the pressure.
But yeah, I was doing a lot of research. They said do not do pressure wash. There's a chemical they'll put
Yes.
and it runs down.
There's actual companies that do this.
Yeah.
I would get somebody qualified. I wouldn't do it yourself, but
I
But this roof was 20 years old. I mean, and that's another thing they have to look into. If they're wanting to clean it, the algae or whatever, if they go in there to do this and it starts leaking, then it's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
If it's 20 years old, it's going to have a new roof.
yeah, so we are. I mean, these people are getting a new roof, so. Okay. So finally it says, have the buyers rank the houses you have shown in order 1 to 5. Best, to not, favorite to least favorite, whatever. Just have them rank them. The exercise will help the buyers self-discover as to what is really important to them in the new home. Finally, ask the buyers, do you see yourself living here? Follow up with them. Why? Why not? And then if they respond affirmatively, ask, are you ready to make an offer today? Or do you think any of these would interest you enough to make an offer today? Just kind of go that way.
What do you do if I have a client I'm showing right now, and his girlfriend lives in Ohio, and she's coming down this weekend, and he's like, well, I want to take her to see some of these houses that we've already seen. They were awful. He didn't like them. He's like, well, I want her to see what we've seen, but why go back and see
Yeah,
what
I would just say to you know what, at this point, this is a decision you're both going to make, and if you're not liking it, I just wouldn't even bother. Let's go on to something, let's find some things that we know that she's going to like, and that way we're all on because we all know the girl wins it.
Yes. And one of these houses, I literally ran out of. It was terrible. I did not want to be inside.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've opened the door and said, go head in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I would not have gone in this house with this guy because I know him and he's my husband's friend. He's huge, but there was literally a spoon on a heater downstairs. It was terrible. I was I went running upstairs and I was like, you can finish looking. I was like, I am out of here.
Yeah.
Because it was vacant, but
I know. But still.
no.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, it was terrible commercial property. It was vacant for 10 years. And it was they wanted a little over $1 million for it. So I walked on there let's go in. And roaches running I had to pretend like I wasn't afraid.
I know.
That's
It's so high in Florida too. So it was
Sit
really
out
high.
in the woods,
would fly out. It was
I know.
You gave me goosebumps. I'm like, oh. Okay, so it says leave the home as you found it, including lights and AC, heat. Don't mess with their heat, their AC when you're showing the house. Don't go in there and mess with their stuff. Be mindful of pets. How many of you? We usually and pay attention to this when you're getting confirmed with showing time when they confirm you. Go in to look at the notes. Make sure you look and see if there's anything left for you, such as alarms. And all that, like dogs in cages, whatever. Make sure you're paying attention to that, so there's no surprises. So
Last night I showed this house, and it was another agent in our office. It was a listing that he was literally working on putting it in MLS, but I had these clients from out of town, and anyway, so there were no notes. I'm like, I'll show it to him. I'm happy because they had told me all this stuff that I thought they had.
Yeah.
But we get there and walk in. And the alarm's going off, and the cat's trying to get out the door. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
And so the buyers were trying to rally the cat. I'm trying to get the alarm.
Oh, I get the alarm. And then you're going
I didn't even know there was an alarm.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't tell me there was an alarm, so I'm calling the agent
How do I
this
get
one was out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn this off and
I thought the cops were going to show up one time. The alarm went off for 10 minutes. And there was no code. Showing time didn't have code.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just waiting for the cops to show up.
I'm an agent. So it says, now this says leave a card on the counter. Don't do that. Unless they tell you to leave a card on the counter, don't do it. Because some people get offended. I'm finding that out.
They get offended for what reason?
The agent.
Yeah,
Gets
I think
offended.
you're still
If you're putting your business card out there. So unless they tell me to leave a card, I don't leave a card.
Well, I think that's a little bit more here, like in Forsyth and Winston. If they do that more, they leave the business card more often than go for the High Point Greensboro. They really don't do that.
What's up with that?
I have no idea.
That's strange. I've always done
They
that.
don't leave a card because
No, I'm High Point. That's why he's saying that.
Greensboro.
And Winston, I see them all over.
and well,
Greensboro, they don't
Greensboro, High
really do it. I
everybody's
don't know
more easy.
why.
I
But
think you're trying to take their time, but that's it's common practice.
Well, see,
everywhere.
that's they said do it so that so people know that you've been there and you're home.
So that they know that you were actually there and
You were
it's not
there
you,
and
that you didn't show up.
Yeah.
Now look, if you're running out of time, and I had this with an agent contacted me and said, Tina, I'm so sorry, we didn't even get to view your home today. He said, we ran out of time and my buyer's gotta go, and so we'll have to reschedule another time. But they ran out of time today and we couldn't see it. So, I thought that was great that he told me that, because then I could relay to the sellers, they actually didn't get to go through your house today. Sometimes that makes them mad, because they're like, okay, we left and they didn't even come, If you're
It's
gonna,
always good to reply.
yes,
back
yes.
And let the agent.
And don't
know.
be negative.
Fill out your forms. Fill out your feedback forms. Let them know, because that's important. As a
buyers take that
listing,
personal.
I like a list. I like, as a listing agent, I like to provide my sellers with that, because the sellers get mad at us and think it's our fault that they're not getting feedback, but it's not. We can only send those things. Those automatically send so many times, and that agent's probably just deleting, and not even. It takes 2 seconds. I do mine right away on my phone on showing time. I just do it right away because I will forget if I don't.
Yeah.
So I just do it right away after we're done. As soon as we're done showing, I do it.
And you don't even have to answer all the questions. No, that's that.
I'll just write in a comment and just say, this is what they want, this is what they're looking for, and this doesn't fit, or it might be on a contender, we're not real sure yet, just starting our search, just give them some kind of a feedback. Yeah. And I'll comment too, if I notice that they've redone everything, you can notice that they've done all that, I comment, I give them compliments and say, nicely done, nice home, it'll sell fast, and,
Please be a professional reading. Yesterday, the open house I did, everyone kept saying something about the paint. It's listed as newly painted, but
it wasn't professional.
it was not professionally done. There's splotches everywhere, so it looks like they did so many patches on the wall.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah. I have a guy that I have a painter guy. I might call him all the time, Charlie. So he does my house, he does all my listings that I need, so he's good. Again, contacts, that's important to do. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is, when called upon, stand up and read off the benefits of the feature you listed without naming it. And the class will guess what feature you're talking about. So, who wants to go first?
I think we all pick the same house.
We picked different ones.
No, we picked different houses.
Okay, that's fine. That's all good. Okay, so we'll start with you. Tiffany, go ahead. Start with the benefit, and we'll guess what the feature is.
Okay, so this feature has less pores, and it's easy to clean. It's the most durable, and it's an expensive product, so it's a premium.
Tile floor?
No, counter
Was
house.
it granite?
Good job.
It's granite.
Quartz.
Quartz. Good
So
job.
that was times.
It's better than granite. It's more expensive. They have
No
no
chippy
pores in
there.
it. Like unlike
Wow.
marble, so it's
Nice.
easy to clean.
Forgot about the no
Most
pores.
expensive.
That's good. Good job. Okay. How about you?
This feature, I'm trying to figure out a way to say it without giving it away. So it makes the home move-in ready. It's going to be less work for the buyers to do. It's very universal as far as what most buyers like. They're not going to have to spend money on doing it.
Paint.
Yes.
Good job.
neutral paint.
Okay. Neutral paint. Good job. Okay. Let's go back here.
Okay, it's got plantation shutters, it's got a carriage house that would be,
That's not fair.
and very unique, doors, and it's, the whole thing is just unique. But it was built in 25.
1925.
It's a unique property.
Like the character of it.
So your feature is
The carriage house.
the
The
carriage
dog.
house. Okay.
Wonder what it is. I don't know which one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I just found another one that's really cute.
Okay, so those were the benefits. You're saying those are the benefits?
Well,
They
Those
want
were
the
like
benefits, and then we have to guess what
The feature.
the
Not
feature
not
is.
which house, but like.
Not what.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she misunderstood.
I
The benefits of what the some benefits of something, and then we have to guess what the feature is, what that actual feature is.
Oh, I did. I was just so involved.
That's all right.
She just wanted to list all
I
the
like that
things.
house. I know exactly what house you're talking about.
Yeah,
I love
all
that
that's
house.
in there.
Okay, you go.
Okay, this feature is something that takes a long time to get, and it's great to have on your property. It will save you energy costs in the summer.
HVAC system.
Diamonds and oil.
It's something that
Trees. Trees. Oh, it's a tree lot. Very good.
big
Very good.
trees.
Big trees, mature trees. Very good.
That are not close to the house.
Yes. So
I will be one of
Close
those
to house,
people.
so
There's people like that. Close me.
in the gutters. Yeah, yeah. Okay, how about you, Ashley?
Oh, God.
It's spacious. It's somewhere for your kids to go.
Dogs.
Yard, yeah.
Fence yard.
Fence
Fence yard.
Yeah,
Good job.
yard.
Good job. Okay, how about you? What'd you come up?
I was
You were that? Okay, okay. All right, so that was fun. All right, so any ahas from this activity?
Just know what your clients are looking for and be able to narrow down your search.
Right, right.
Don't want to waste a lot of time looking at everything that's out there.
So pay attention to your clients' signals, their body language when you're touring properties. Kind of pay attention. Excuse me. Their body language, facial expressions, asking about their motive. When they start asking you about the seller's motivation, like how motivated is this seller? So you can kind of get a feel from there what they're thinking, kind of get in their head a little bit and see, okay, they're really thinking about, they're considering this house. Asking detailed questions such as about the buyer or the seller's disclosure in the taxes. They're wanting to ask that kind of stuff, the schools, that kind of thing. If they start visualizing their furniture placement, start doing that, well, this could fit there and this could fit here. Comparing other houses to it, discussing new paint or carpet. If they start to sit down on the furniture and just kind of sitting there taking it in, that might be a good sign. You may be surprised by number 10, which is raising objections. It is common misconception that objections such as, I don't like carpet, I want all hardwood floors, means that a buyer is not interested in the property. So if they're wanting strictly all hardwood floors and your house has 90% carpet that you're going to show them, it's probably not a good, I wouldn't even bother.
But if it's old, you can always check to see.
Yes, underneath it, right. So the age of the house too, check that to see.
Just out of curiosity, what age, what's like kind of the latest age that you might expect to, I mean, I guess you never know for sure, but when did they stop doing this? But
The 50s, I think they put
50s.
carpet, in the 50s they put carpet over hardwood.
okay, so it's kind of rare that you would find things past that would be hardwood underneath.
I would say 60s too.
60s you might run into some? Maybe. Okay. When buyers raise an objection to some features of the home, it may mean they are imagining themselves in that home. So, common objections during home viewing. We love it, but we haven't seen enough properties yet. We really want a formal dining room. We don't like the carpet, paint color, or the landscaping. So, go back to this. We love it, but we haven't seen enough properties yet. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, my role as your buyer specialist, and the reason why we went for a consultation is to sort through the homes that met your criteria, only to show you the best available homes. The cream of the crop. And the best homes on the market go fast, usually in 1, maybe 2 days. If you love the home, chances are someone else does too. So, are you willing to lose the perfect home for you, your wow home, the one you absolutely love, just so you can see everything out there? Like if this meets a lot of your criteria, if this has a lot of your checklists and everything that you're looking for, why are you wanting to keep looking? So, get how serious they are. We really want a formal dining room. Well, remember at our first meeting when we talked about there being no such thing as 100% house. That's a thing too. Now to kind of need to rope them in and tell them that, try to see, is this really important? How important is this compared to this? Kind of rope them in that way. Because sometimes they get a little off track, and they, I have this, and I'm sure some of you have. They'll tell you one thing, and then the next minute, and well, wait a minute. The next thing, wait a minute. You told me this. You told me this is what you wanted, or you told me no basement, or you told me you wanted a basement. Something, they switch all over the place because then they're not sure. They're really not sure. So that's why it is important to do the whole roping them in, get down, say it is important because there are so many homes. We can't go through every home, and it's a waste of time. So we need to really get your features down, what they're wanting, what they need, needs, wants, all that in perspective. They need to get all their stuff in perspective so that you're not, because you will drive around. So,
Do you usually take them in your car, or do you leave them?
No, unless they're out of town. I have had several clients that are relocating. I'm working with this company that relocates. So I have had a couple that I have. But once they meet with me once and we go through, then I kind of let them drive and follow me. Like I'll meet them and they'll follow me. But I have had a family drive in my car, which was fine. It was all good. I drove them around because they weren't from the area. They didn't know. So, but the next time they came out, they were out 2 separate visits. So the next visit they came out. I mean, they came out at the height of the market when everything was just gone. Like it's under contract in like 20 seconds. Like you just looked it up and it's already done. So those poor things, I felt so bad for them. They would love, and every time we would go to put an offer, they're like, we're already under contract. So they came back for another visit. And I just had them meet me, just because by that point they had already driven around, and so we closed last week or this week. We closed this week, so we're done. We don't like the carpet, paint, color, landscaping. I hear what you're saying, and this home does offer you a chance to add your own personal touches. That's all preference. That's personal preference. I mean, that's just like you said, cosmetic. So really that, and in the grand scheme of things, paint is the cheapest thing you can ever do. Paint. So.
That's a nice way to say it. It's an opportunity.
And yeah, and the more just little fact here, the more houses you show them, the less competent they think you are. The more houses you're showing them, the less competent they think you are.
But what if they really ask to see them?
I don't know. I think like roping them in and we're going again. They're wanting you to get the 15 to the 5. You're going from the 15 houses to the 5 to rope them in. Get your top 5 and kind of they're telling you should be able to pick from there. Doesn't always work that way. I have a couple though that it's worked. I'm just being honest, but I have a couple that it's not worked. That's not worked. Because they're all over the place. So,
are they seeing new properties come up and they're like, oh
yeah, we want to go see that. This just came on the market. And they'll send me stuff, and I'm like, Lord. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when and you try to rope them in, and this book can tell you everything that you're supposed to do, but it's different personalities and different people. It's different. So, Dina's working with the buyers right now that they're not, they want a house in this certain area and they only want to pay in the low 200s. Well, they're all listed at 250 and up. So you're not getting one. And then they'll go look at it and they're like, well, we want to make an offer. And it's listed at 250 and they want to make an offer at 210. Yeah, we're like, that's offensive. You're offending these people, and it's not, and all the comps, they support this, and that's another thing. You need to, when you do find one, and I try to tell, before we talk price and offering, let's go ahead and do a little bit of research and comparables and see what's sold and kind of see price per square foot of what's selling in here. So we kind of know that we're in the right ballpark. So that's what I do. I kind of do that. Because then you're not coming in and you're not offending somebody.
This one client, I've only been doing this for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Just about 6 weeks. And she was the first person I showed it. we've been under contract with her in 3 houses in 6 weeks.
What is she doing?
And now I'm like, I know why you referred me.
Oh my God, it's so cool.
Is she
Yeah.
under contract right now?
Yes.
But you're like, don't hold my breath.
I don't. I'm just like, it's
It
embarrassing.
is embarrassing.
And you
What
just,
did she back out for?
just for like, oh my God. Well, okay, first of all, I have tried. She's single. She's newly single.
Okay.
You guys have probably heard me talk about her before because she's newly separated. She's a single mom. And this is a very
She's
scary
emotional.
process for her.
Yeah.
This is scary. She's never had to do it on her own before. Pay for all this
Right.
stuff on her own.
Right.
And she's got 2 daughters, one in college and a senior, well, a junior in high school. She'll be a junior.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, she's got 3 sisters and her mother. And
They're all trying to tell her what to do.
all the dog, her girl. And
I hate that.
every single house that we've looked at has been either with some combination of the sisters, the mother, and the daughters. But I just never. The very last one, I said, Jan, maybe you and I could just go together, just the 2 of us, to look at this house. Because, you've got so, and I just,
Everybody's barking in
at
your
this
ear.
point, I've had
She
this
went to house or
relationship
like
with
a town
her
that's
where I
like
can
a
say,
place where they mow their
you know
grass.
what,
and stuff.
like, now we have this relationship where I could say to her, I feel like you've got all these voices in your head from everybody. Why don't you and I just go? You can just kind of quietly consider this on your own.
Right.
Yeah, and we finally got on a contract, and I think this is
You think
she
this
did.
is-
She said, this is the first one that I've really slept on it, and I
And
feel
feel
good
good
about it, and I'm like, well, that's
Wait,
good.
you're gonna talk to her today.
No, I shouldn't say. I
Did you
know.
find her somewhere that'll mow her grass though, like a condo?
She's
place?
not worried. That's not the
No?
stuff she's worried about.
No.
Trust me. That's not
See, that would be mine. I don't wanna have to do
No
anything.
maintenance. Don't let her do
She's
anything.
super outdoorsy, so that's not her stuff that she's worried about.
Yeah.
It's just the making the payments, and she likes houses with character, but she doesn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And she wants, if I take her to a new house, she'd be like, a new house, everything's perfect. She's like, I hate it. Let's go. I'm like,
Yeah.
hi.
Yeah. Everyone. But again, price.
But if you don't have any money, it's a really hard. And
Yeah.
I try to tell them, but
Yeah. Unless you're buying a dump and you're gonna really fix it up. Dina had this. Well, actually, I had the seller. I had the mom and dad. I had them listed their house and sold it and found them another house. Relocated them to that one, so it was good. 2 transactions with one was great. And her daughter came along. She's like, "Oh, I really want you guys to help my daughter." I'm like, "Great." So now let me just tell you, these people were sweet as all get out, but very indecisive. They couldn't. You're like, "Do you want to do this?" I don't know. We were down to the
let's try
buyer.
to contact them.
We were down to the wire with finding them a house because we had to close, and then they were trying to find a place to go in between when their house closed and when this new one closed. So that was a mess. So her daughter, Dina starts. I actually passed her daughter on to Dina because I had some other stuff going on with some other people. So I said, "Here, do you have time for her?" And she said, "Yeah." So she took her, and same thing. Her daughter was the exact same way, just very not sure. And then she was wanting to see if the boyfriend approved, and I'm like, "Is boyfriend paying the payment?" And she's like, "I know." Dina goes, "I know, but how do you say that to her?" I'm like, "I know." It's kind of like, oh. But then she brought the mom and dad and the boyfriend's dad. Okay.
Oh God.
And they all come to see this house that she absolutely loves. And Dina said the boyfriend's dad immediately just started cutting everything. Because he was a commercial real estate agent at one point, and he knew blah, 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 and he just started kicking everything around. And so Dina was
But you
like,
can't tell your clients, like when I show you, it's just, it's the people that are financing them.
yes. Well, it sucked the life right out of her. She loved that house. And Dina said it was perfect for her because it was she's a little girl, so it was a cute little neighborhood and everything. It needed some work, but nothing it was all cosmetic. So she was like, it was perfect for her. She said, in a cute little neighborhood with little kids to play with, her little girl would have somebody to play with. And that boyfriend's dad killed that deal. She took that. She went, and then we took him back, and then I said to Dina, and he has no skin in that. He had nothing in that. And he ruined that.
Well, and the thing is, you can tell them, but you know what? If it's your clients that you're taking out for the first time,
Right.
you don't want to.
Yeah.
If you don't want to pin them on the first.
Right.
Once you've
No,
been out
no.
there with them a little bit, then you can say,
Exactly.
hey, listen, maybe it's a good idea.
Yeah. So you can think. So you can think for you what's best for you.
Right.
Yeah. Because they're not buying
You're the one
it. You
paying
are.
the bills,
Yeah.
you know.
So yeah.
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 I had that issue too in Florida, and I was like, you know what, it looks like we narrowed it down. Can you and I just go out and I want to take you to lunch after so we can talk? Like,
Yes.
and they're like, I don't want to, you have to spend money on my family. So they're like, oh yeah, it just
Yeah.
be me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can
Because
sit that way.
It's hard with the family. And I get, listen, being a mom, I get it. And Dina and I said this to her. So the next day, this guy was really nasty. The boyfriend's dad was really nasty to Dina. He was like, this can't be, well, we'll just say 1,700 square feet. He's like, this can't be 1,700 square feet. She goes, well, we kind of have to go that the agent, she goes, we all have to measure. So we have to trust that this agent measured and this is what, it is. And he goes, do you have a measuring tape? And she goes, in my car. And he goes, well, go get it. Like, this is how this man spoke to her. I said to Dina, I probably would have said,
He's not even buying
here
the
you
house.
go. I would have handed it to him.
Yeah.
Go
Who
get it. Real
are
estate
you?
agent. Measure it.
Who are you to steal? Like, you're not
Yeah.
buying this
I'll be like,
property.
yeah, I've got one in the car. You can, welcome to go get it.
Yeah.
Measure
That's what I told. She's so sweet. So she did it. And I said, Dina, I would have handed
Oh my
it to
gosh,
him.
she did it?
She did it. I would have handed it to him and said, here you go.
Maybe you just didn't like the girlfriend.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He was just really rude. But again, he's calm and everything good. And the next day, the little couple apologized to Dina and said, "We're really sorry,"
Oh,
And, yeah. Well, because it was bad. It was like it was so bad. So yeah, so you need to rope them in, kind of get their everything down to what they're wanting, kind of make them see, point out the things they talked about that they wanted. Let's see. Remember, you are not a tour guide with a lockbox key. Your job, once you have helped them find the right home, is to facilitate the decision-making process for your buyers so they can make an offer and get the home they want before someone else does. So depending on what the market's doing, and right now it's kind of crazy, because if you're priced right and you're all done, like a Pottery Barn house, you're selling really quickly. So if that's what your client is wanting and they're wanting no fixer up there, they just want to move in, then you need to let them know, look, things are selling relatively fast. So if this is at all a contender, we need to consider, maybe start talking some numbers and thinking what you want to do here. Roping them in.
I'm sorry, Tina. Are we going to take a break?
We are.
Okay.
Yep, right now. Was it 11? Yep.
Just get
Each time you show a new property, ask your buyer to rank that property on a scale of 1 to 10. We talked about that. You should record that number on your home tour checklist. That's if you're going to use this home tour checklist. The purpose is to continuously decide which property is ranked at the top for a possible offer. So after each showing, ask if they want to purchase that home. If not, find out why not. When you've finished touring homes, put all the MLS sheets together in their order of ranking and eliminate all but the top 2 rankings. Take the highest scoring home and ask, so is this one your favorite? Is it going to be your new home? Does it meet everything on your checklist? You can validate your choice by adding, I can see why you're so excited about it. Because again, you kind of read their body language and everything on that. Take the MLS sheet, top of the ranking sheet home, flip it over and draw a line from top to bottom. On the left side of the line, write pros. On the other side, write cons. And dig deep with your questions to truly pull out what they like and don't like about the home. This way your buyers don't feel like you are pushing them the sale on the home. You're not going to push them to buy a home that's, they're not kind of on the fence about. So do your pros and cons with them. Ask them, narrowed in the highest ranking house, help them focus on the next step, making an offer. So would it make sense for us to go back to my office to do some research on house prices in the neighborhood to see what would be a good offer? If they've come up with one that they like, again, I always say go back and see what the market is for that area and what the houses are selling per square foot.
Do you, when you're showing, because I know like my husband, we were looking, him was his bottom line. If you want to know the taxes for the area,
Yes.
you want to know who had the utilities, you want to know homeowners.
Well, usually the utilities and stuff I get usually during due diligence.
Well, I meant like if it's,
Oh, he wanted to know the prices.
no, he wanted to know, like, if it was septic,
Oh,
before we even went.
oh
to
yeah.
the-
I mean, that's you should know all that before you even go in to show the house. Just
Yeah.
say, you know, this one is well, this one is public. You know, I always kind of give them a
Is that
little
something
bit.
that we should ask if, what they prefer? Or has it ever been an issue?
I've never really had it be an issue. Well, yeah, I don't think I ever had it be an issue.
Okay.
But you could. That would be a good thing up front to say, are you wanting more of city water, public water, or are you going to mind if there's a septic or well? Like, are you going to mind if any of those things a big no? You can
Okay.
start at the beginning with that before you start your search.
Yeah.
Because if you get into it and it's already there, it's kind of, yeah, wasted some time there. But your septic, and you know, whenever you're doing your due diligence, if you guys are in a, you know, to do a well and septic inspection, right? You guys really should do that. Really tell your buyers that that's important, just to make sure everything's okay, because that's what that time period's for. So, I'm trying to think of another thing that you would.
Where the septic field is, that's a huge thing out where I live.
Where the what?
The septic field and
Yes.
everything's at.
Yeah,
It
where
seems
the
like
leach
city,
bed.
like, I still don't have
Yeah.
mine. The builder went under and it's,
Oh, the county should have record. They don't.
I mean, my realtor, I've been actually again looking, it's like, okay. So when the grass dies, we just gotta figure out kind of where things
That's
are.
where it's at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're wanting to put a pool in at some point, but
Oh.
yeah, just have a pain.
So, if your buyers do not want to make an offer on any of the properties, if you come down to their 5, you need to regroup again. So, you're going to say, before we part, let's get on our calendars and set up a next meeting to look for a home you want to buy. If nothing worth seeing has hit the market by Friday, because you know sometimes you exhaust everything that's in there, I will call you and we will reschedule a time. Just, you know, throw out a date. We'll reschedule by whatever. And so overcome buyer reluctance. So a lot of times you'll get some buyers that are a little hesitant, reluctant. Once you have seen the best houses that meet the buyer's criteria, got all the checklists on there, you may have to help your buyers overcome buyer reluctance. It is a common issue many people experience when they are suddenly faced with the reality of making an offer. So you finally get to that point and then they're like frozen. So it's one of the biggest financial investments of their life that they're making. So it's a big decision. So you're helping them with it's a big purchase. So your job is not to try and sell your buyers a home that isn't right for them, but it is your job to help them recognize when a home fits their needs and values and wants. So when your buyers are sure they like the house but are reluctant to take the next step to make an offer, reassure them that the simple step to make an offer is not as binding as they may think. So reassure them about you've got due diligence, you've got, to do our inspections and everything, so that if anything major comes up when you're doing the due diligence period, they have that time to back out. Of course, they don't get their due diligence money back, but they have that time to back out if there's something major with the house. Don't worry, if something is majorly wrong and you're not comfortable with it, we can get out. It's just you have this time, there's time frames. So keep reiterating that to them, making sure they know that they have their time that they're buying from the seller to do their inspections and everything. So what if the price drops? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you are most concerned about the price of the home or the monthly payment or the mortgage. What is your concern here? Of course, the monthly payment. I would have to agree with you. Let me ask you another question. Do interest rates generally go up faster than home prices come down? What do you think? No doubt about it. In fact, interest rates could rise 1% tomorrow, right? Because interest rates are always, yeah. So home prices would have to come down 10% to make up for the 1% rise in the interest rates. So if you're looking for a $200,000 home, do you think interest rates might go up 1% before home prices come down $20,000 in your price range? Right. I would definitely agree with you there. So let's do the right thing and make an offer before the interest rates go up. So, again, and then the dealing with when you're trying to doing the counter offers. And how many of you are have experienced anything with like multiple offer situations yet? Yeah, that's fun, right? And then you're like, oh, there's multiple offers and they want our highest and best by 5 p.m. tomorrow. And then they're looking at you going, what do we do? And you're going, well, and you don't want to
figure out the highest best.
Yeah, so you don't want to overshot. Now, what's worked for me is I'll go a little bit over the asking price, just a little bit, because you don't want to go too far over, because then it might not appraise.
Yeah.
So that's what they have to remember that as well. So I think what I've found is $5,000 over the asking price is what I've done. So depending on what we're asking for in closing costs and everything. So, and we got it. So yeah.
I mean, I'm not taking it because I work with Lynette.
Yes.
We have 3 under contract. All of them were multiple offer situations.
Yeah.
Like in this week.
Yeah.
3 under contract, and they were all multiple.
That's good. That's good. Then you know the game, so you've got it down.
Figuring out quickly.
Yeah, it is, and you do figure out. Like you go in there. Well, I know the one particularly. I asked. I called an agent. Are there any offers on this house? No, I don't have any. And then we go and show it, and then I call him and I say, we're going to make an offer, and he's like, well, we have several.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I just asked you
I
like
feel
20
like-
minutes ago.
I feel like
But it happens that way. Well,
But I don't
you
like that. Because I think everybody needs to be honest here.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't happen.
I really believe that some of those agents were lying.
Yeah,
Like,
I do
come
too.
on.
I know. I have to think that too. And then he's like, I've got like 3 other ones on the line now. I'm like, okay.
I know. I think it's happened to me. I don't know. But I wonder.
But you never know. So.
Yeah, and I have to think. The ethical thing. I'm like, you have to morally and ethically. I'm like, are you serious?
I don't know how I am, but
I
I
do.
know how you are.
Right.
Never.
So.
It never
I
really
don't.
occurred
I'll
to
just
me.
tell you right now, I don't play that game. If we don't have an
No,
offer, I'm not going to tell you we have multiple offers on the table.
I can't believe it.
First off, that can really come back to smack you because then you have nothing.
Yeah.
So
And some buyers like me say, forget it.
yeah.
No way.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to play the game. I'm not doing it. Yeah. Right. Okay, we want to sleep on it. Sometimes I have a lot of people who say want to sleep, want to pray on it. You're right. It's a huge decision, and you should do that. But if it's something that you know is probably going to be under contract by the end of the day, you're like, you know what? In this instance, I would not sleep on it. I would just take it, regroup for a minute or two, a half an hour, figure it out. Because this is not going to last till tomorrow. So, to get to the bottom line with your buyers. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what are you looking for that doesn't exist? What you are looking for doesn't exist, so we have to make a decision. You can step into a higher price point, you can adjust your expectations, or you can step away from the home buying process for a year and see what happens. What is the best course of action for you? I always say, sometimes if they can, I don't know what their, whatever their price range is. If they can step it up a little, wherever they're comfortable at, I know house payment wise. I know people say, no, we need to stay in this range for us to be comfortable. Well, that's fine. Or they'll go even a little bit down lower. But if you come up a little bit, look what you can get. They'll say, well, it doesn't have this, it doesn't. But if you just go up maybe $5,000-$10,000 more, look what you can get. It's
Just not that much on your payment.
right. But again, refer them to their mortgage person. Tell so and so to rework your numbers a minute with this amount and see.
Right.
Just let you see what your differences are going to be. So and see if it might work, because then you're going to be gaining this over here, and not have to sacrifice. So kind of get them. Yeah, always keep in touch with that lender so that they can keep going back to them. That's why I say I like to refer people I know to people I know for lenders so that they're going to talk to you, because my lenders talk to me. So I like that they'll come back, ask so-and-so, ask them about maybe going up, what your price point would be here. With HOAs. That's another thing you have to be careful about is the HOAs. When they're in a particular price point, make sure you remind them, oh, there's an HOA. If there's an HOA here, it's X amount of dollars a month or X amount of dollars a year. So that's going to be factored into the whole payment thing. So, okay, so with a partner, practice the scripts on the previous page, taking turns being the agent and the buyer. So that would be, let's see, 29. Let me see here. 29. So it would be the script's 28, page 28. Yeah, practice buyer objection scripts. There we go. Page 30. Term page 30. So customer experience focus. So finding the home that most closely matches their needs and wants and making an offer quickly that it becomes theirs. So when you're being proactive, when you're trying to communicate, you try to find homes on the internet. Establish how they like to keep in touch whenever you're working with your buyers, because some people are texters, some people are emails, some people are strictly want to talk on the phone. The older ones, I think, people that are more senior, I think they want to talk on the phone. They don't like the texting thing. Emails as well is big. So just find out their means of communication that they're comfortable with, and I just kind of feel them out and then go with that. I have a lot of texters, so I'll text back with that. Okay, is it every time a new home comes on the market plus a weekly communication your check-in point? Like, what do? Do you just keep watching for them, and then when something comes in new to the market, do you send it to them? I get on our little app, and that's what I do. I just, if I find something, then I'll send it through the app and text it to them if that's the way, if they've set up on the app and everything with your phone. That's a good way to do that. Because that way they have it right there. And everybody has their phones with them these days. So send it with them right there. Let's see. What else do you guys think would be helpful to ensure your buyers have an exceptional experience with you? What do you do? Does anybody have any special things they do to make sure?
I usually, after we've seen a few homes, say it's like 3 homes in that day, and it's during the day, like mornings, the afternoon, I usually take them to lunch.
Okay.
Depending on the client, obviously.
Nice.
And we discuss what we've just seen. And instead of going home and we're going our separate ways, they have time to think about, it's better to have that in-person conversation right after. Right. Also, it depends on the client because you don't want to spend money on everyone.
Yeah. Right. It does depend on it does. Yeah. How about anybody else? Okay, so what about if you have somebody that has kids, a client that has kids, and they're bringing the kids with them, little ones through them?
You could have some people say they have a little tub in the back of their car that has toys.
Good idea. Like etch a sketch thing, iPad thing, whatever, something to keep them busy while you're going through. Because if it is an occupied home and you're walking through there and these kids are running this way and that and they're grabbing things, we're responsible for that. So, and I like to I say, okay, Mom and Dad, we're going to go in, but I need you to keep an eye on the little ones because this is occupied and this is not our stuff, so we need to not touch everything. Just kind of and they're pretty good. Pretty good about it, so. Let's see here. Okay, so do you guys want to do a mock show home from here? So we're going to mock show home by pretending the classroom is the house and point out the features and benefits that correspond to the buyer's mock needs. So an analysis and handle any objections raised. Assume a buyer needs analysis has been done so you can reference the mock needs analysis. For example, here you will see the formal dining room and for the large dinner parties you like to host. And the buyer can raise common objections as you tour the home, like we wanted a bigger yard, we wanted to see more properties, I hate the carpeting, etc. So,
Are you finding that people still want dining rooms